All right, so we're diving into Crescent City today. You guys sent in some excerpts from House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. And, well, it looks like we have a real mystery on our hands.
It's such a cool world, right? Urban fantasy humans just trying to live their lives. You've got fae, veneer angels, all sorts of powerful beings.
And it's not just any angels we're talking about here, the Ascarite, these
Right.
godlike beings. They're the ones calling the shots. But in the middle of all this supernatural power play, we meet Bryce Quinlan. She's our half-fae, half-human protagonist. And on the surface, she seems like your average party girl. But you can tell there's way more to her story.
What's really interesting about Bryce is that she's stuck between two worlds, doesn't really fit in with the humans, but the fae don't fully accept her either, especially with that strained relationship she has with her dad, the Autumn King.
And then there's the whole tragedy with her best friend Danica, brutally murdered 2 years before her story even starts. You can tell Bryce is still really affected by it, and she's determined to uncover the truth about what happened.
And that's where this whole mystery kicks off. At first, they blame this human rebel, Philip Briggs, supposedly summoned a Crystallos demon to kill Danica and her wolf pack. But the excerpts you sent in, they hint at a much bigger story.
Oh yeah, the Crystallis is straight up terrifying, the way it's described. Tearing through flesh and bone, leaving these horrific wounds. It's the stuff of nightmares. But what really got me was that its venom only affects living beings. Why would a demon be so specific?
Exactly. That's such a weird detail. It makes you think there's a purpose to it, more than just rage and destruction. And then you've got the whole black salt thing.
Oh right, the black salt. Briggs was buying it up
Yeah.
to fuel some kind of weapon. But was that weapon the Crystallos, and where does this synth stuff come into play?
Synth is where things get really interesting. It's the synthetic magic drug, gives humans superhuman strength, but it has some pretty awful side effects. What's really messed up is that they developed it disguised as a healing aid, funded by this powerful corporation, Redner Industries.
So we've got this powerful drug pretending to be a cure, secret experiments, a brutal murder that might not be what it seems. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. And the story just keeps getting more and more interesting.
It makes you wonder about all those in power. Are they really trying to help? Or are they just using people for their own game? And then you add in Danica, she was secretly experimenting with synth. That adds a whole other layer of complexity.
Yeah, it's sad to see Danica struggling with this secret, trying to protect Bryce, but also drawn to the power of synth. It makes you think about the choices we make when faced with something so powerful, and the consequences those choices have.
And speaking of power, we can't forget about Luna's horn, this legendary weapon stolen from Luna's temple during a citywide blackout. It throws everything into chaos. All the factions suspect each other. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife.
It's wild how stealing this ancient relic becomes the catalyst for so much conflict. It just shows how fragile the peace is between all the different groups in Crescent City, and what they're willing to do to gain power.
And the fact that Danica, while high on synth, stole Luna's horn as a joke, well, that definitely throws a curveball into the mystery.
Talk about a wild goose chase. Bryce and Hunt are trying to untangle this web of secrets, and every clue just seems to lead to more questions. But let's talk about Bryce and Hunt for a second. Their relationship, it's a whole roller coaster of tension banter and undeniable chemistry, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Their dynamic is totally captivating. You've got Hunt, this brooding angel sworn to the Astery. He's wary of Bryce at first, but you can tell he's drawn to her spirit and determination. And Bryce, she's hesitant to trust anyone, especially an angel, but there's definitely a spark between them.
And let's not forget about the Autumn King. He's not exactly thrilled about them working together. Almost like he can sense their connection could disrupt things,
Maybe,
even
yeah.
threaten his own power.
The power dynamics in Crescent City are so intricate. Every character seems to be playing a role in this big game. Alliances are shifting, loyalties are constantly being tested. And then you have Micah, the Archangel of Valbra. He's like this looming presence over everything.
Micah is such a mystery. He assigns Hunt to work with Bryce, but it doesn't feel like he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart. There's something dark about him, like he's always 10 steps ahead and manipulating things to get what he wants.
It's scary to think about how much influence he has. He's holding Hunt's freedom in his hands, like dangling a carrot, while
Like-
also taking advantage of his loyalty and trauma.
Yeah, Hunt's past as a rebel leader, fighting alongside that fallen Archangel Shahar. It adds another layer to their relationship. He's been through so much. Years of torture and enslavement at the hands of Micah's sister, Sandriel. And now Micah's offering him a taste of hope. But what's the price?
It makes you wonder if true freedom is even possible in a system like that. Can Hunt really break free from the chains that bind him? Or is he destined to be a pawn in the Asteries game?
And then there's the Viper Queen. She might not be directly involved in Danica's death, but that cryptic clue she gives, Look toward where it hurts the most. It points Bryce towards her personal connections, the people she loves.
Classic misdirection, right? She's forcing Bryce to question everything and everyone, even those closest to her. It highlights that whole theme of trust and betrayal that runs throughout the story, how even the strongest relationships can have secrets.
Speaking of secrets, Bryce hasn't exactly been honest with Hunt either. That whole hidden library under her workplace. Hunt's not too happy when he finds out.
It's that classic scenario. Two people, both with baggage and secrets, trying to make a relationship work. They're back and forth. The push and pull, it keeps you on the edge of your seat. You can feel the attraction there. But their trust issues and past trauma, it's a constant threat.
Their investigation takes them to some pretty shady places, too. Like that club, the White Raven, whatever happened there. It really shook Danica. And it might be the key to understanding her last days.
The White Raven incident, it definitely implies that Danica stumbled onto something dangerous, something she couldn't tell anyone, not even Bryce.
And then another murder hits the city, mirroring Danica's death. Seems like the Cristallos is back. But Hunt's not so sure. It's as simple as it looks.
Yeah, the Cristallos reappearing. It adds another layer to this whole mystery. Is it the same demon from 2 years ago? Or is someone trying to recreate Danica's death? And why?
And then there's the bombshell about that scent diagnostic test that they never ran. The Fae had the tech, but they were told not to use it on Danica's case. And guess who was behind that?
It turns out the Autumn King Bryce's own father. He was trying to hide the truth about his daughter's death. But why? What was he so desperate to cover up?
Bryce is starting to put the pieces together. She thinks Synth is connected to the murders. She believes Danica might have uncovered something dangerous. So she decides to go right to the source. A demon prince.
Wow. That's a bold move, summoning a demon prince, especially one as powerful and mysterious as Adis. That's risky business.
But Adis gives her this cryptic clue. Find what is in between. It's super vague. But it sends Bryce and Hunt on a whole new path, one that forces them to look at the evidence differently and search for those overlooked details.
That clue, it suggests the answers have been there all along, hidden in plain sight. It's like a challenge for Bryce and Hunt to think outside the box, to question everything they thought they knew.
And remember how they were talking about Luna's horn? Whether it could be repaired with magic? There's this book. It mentions a specific requirement. Light that is not light, magic that is not magic. It sounds impossible, right?
Yeah, it does. It implies some kind of power beyond anything they know. Like a magic so ancient and rare, it might as well be a myth. But what if that impossible requirement is actually a clue, a hint at something extraordinary?
Okay, get ready for this, because this is where things get crazy. They discover that the footage from the night Luna's horn was stolen. It's been tampered with. And the person behind it is...
Micah, the Archangel of Valbra, the one pulling all the strings, orchestrating the chaos. It's chilling to realize that someone so powerful would be so manipulative.
And it gets worse. Micah was behind those synth experiments this whole time. He's been using that dangerous drug to control and manipulate people, including Hunt.
Micah's involvement in all this, it reveals his true nature. He's ruthless, he's ambitious, and he'll use anyone to get what he wants. It makes you question the whole idea of power and what people will do to hold on to it.
And just when you think it can't get any worse, he frames Hunt for the whole synth operation. Plants evidence to make it look like Hunt's the mastermind.
It's such a betrayal. It crushes any hope Hunt had for freedom. It just shows how dangerous it is to trust someone with that much power, someone who sees everyone else as pawns.
But Bryce refuses to believe that Hunt is behind it all. She confronts Micah, tells him she knows the truth. But Micah has one last trick up his sleeve. He reveals his master plan. He's been using synth to search for Luna's horn, and he's found a way to repair it.
So Micah's true intentions are finally out in the open, and they're terrifying. He wants to use Luna's horn to remake Crescent City in his own image, to solidify his power, maybe even challenge the Astri themselves.
And just when things are looking really bad, Micah injects Bryce with synth. He wants to use her connection to the horn to activate it and unleash its power.
Talk about a cliffhanger. We're left wondering if Bryce can survive this, and what's going to happen to Hunt in the hands of Sandriel.
We've uncovered so many secrets. Betrayals, dangerous magic.
Yeah.
Join us next time for part 2, where we'll dive even deeper into this world and find out if Bryce can escape Micah's clutches and what the fate of Crescent City holds. Last time we left off, Bryce was in a pretty bad spot, injected with synth and completely at Micah's mercy. But even in those dark moments, it seems like unexpected allies can pop up.
That's what makes this world so cool, right? You think you've got the power dynamics figured out, and then someone like Queen Hypaxia comes in and throws everything off. To think She risked it all to get Hunt away from Sandriel.
Yeah, that was such a power move. Just casually deactivating Hunt's slave mark right in front of Sandril and all those Astery guards. The tension was insane.
Makes you wonder what Hypaxia is really after. She's playing her own game, that's for sure. And her actions definitely show that there's some deep resentment towards the Astery, even among those in power.
It definitely shakes things up in Crescent City. But Hypaxia wasn't the only one who came through for Bryce and Hunt Fury, even with that tough exterior. She put herself on the line to help Bryce escape Micah. It shows that under that gruffness, there's real loyalty.
Fury's actions say a lot about the bonds between women in this world. She's a true friend. Ride or die, willing to stand by Bryce no matter what. But escaping is just the start of a whole new set of problems.
Because Micah doesn't just let them walk away, he unleashes total chaos on the city. Opens portals, lets demons run wild. It's a full-blown crisis, and it feels like he's ready to burn it all down to get what he wants.
Micah's actions really highlight the dangers of unchecked ambition. He's so consumed by this thirst for power that he's willing to make everyone suffer to get it. Makes you question the whole idea of good and evil, and if the lines are ever really that clear.
It's terrifying to think that someone with that much authority could be so twisted. But amidst all this chaos, there's a little bit of hope. Remember how everyone thought Luna's horn was gone? Well, it turns out Danica hid it after she stole it. She even told Hunt where it was.
Oh, wow. The fact that Hunt knew where the horn was all along, but kept it from Bryce, it adds this whole other layer of tension to their relationship. Obviously, he was trying to protect her, but holding back that information, it ends up backfiring.
Yeah, it creates this rift between them, this sense of mistrust that could really ruin their partnership. It's a classic example of how even secrets with good intentions can have really bad consequences. But let's not forget about Micah. While everyone's trying to deal with all the demons, he's busy with even more twisted experiments.
Ugh. It's scary, right? He's injecting people with synth, forcing them to fight demons, all to try and unlock the secrets of Luna's horn and its connection to the Starborn Fae.
It's like he sees people as disposable, as pawns in his game. Makes you wonder about the whole foundation of the Astery's rule, and if their supposed kindness is all just a lie.
It definitely makes you question the whole idea of absolute power and how easy it is for people to become corrupt. But speaking of shocking revelations, get this, we learn the truth about Danica's death.
Oh yeah. Remember we thought she was murdered by that Crystallis demon? Turns out, it was an accident. The demon was summoned by the black salt that was in the synth she was taking.
It's tragic, isn't it? Danica was trying to keep Bryce safe from the synth, and it ends up killing her. It shows you what can happen when you mess with powerful magic and how fragile life really is.
It's so sad to think that her death could have been prevented. The result of choices made with good intentions, but that weight, that guilt and grief, it falls on Bryce.
She's already dealing with so much betrayal and loss, and now this revelation, it just adds to her pain. It reminds you that even in a world of magic and fantasy, the worst pain often comes from the ones we love.
And in the middle of all this emotional turmoil, we get a huge revelation about Bryce herself. She's not just some half-fae party girl. She's a Starborn.
Whoa, that changes everything. It explains so much about her, her strength, her connection to magic, the fact that she can wield Luna's horn. She comes from a long line of powerful fae warriors, and she's inherited their abilities.
It's like this hidden power, just waiting to be unleashed. But there's a twist. She's been suppressing her Starborn powers this whole time, keeping it a secret, even from her brother Rune.
It makes sense that she would want to hide her true nature. She wants a normal life, a life free from all the pressure or expectations that come with that kind of power. But now, with the fate of Crescent City at stake, she has to face her destiny.
And she does something amazing. Remember how they were trying to figure out how to repair Luna's horn? Well, turns out Bryce's Starborn light is the key. That impossible requirement, light that is not light, magic that is not magic.
Yeah.
It describes Bryce's powers perfectly.
Wow, what a twist! It connects Bryce's personal journey to the fate of the entire city. It's like the universe itself has been leading her to this moment, getting her ready to fulfill her true potential.
It's incredible to think that the answer was inside her all along, but just when it seems like there's hope, Micah captures Bryce, tries to force her to activate the horn for his own evil plan.
You can feel Micah's desperation. He's so close to getting what he wants, to remaking Crescent City. But Bryce, she throws a wrench in his plans.
She refuses to be used and manages to escape with Hunt's help. He shows up just in time. But it's a short-lived victory, Micah. In a last act of cruelty, unleashes this devastating attack, and Hunt is mortally wounded.
Oh no. It's just awful. Just when Hunt had a taste of freedom, just when their love for each other was growing, it seems like fate has other plans.
It's heartbreaking, especially seeing Bryce's reaction. She's desperate to save Hunt, But his injuries are too severe for normal healing. There's only one option left: the gates.
The gates. These ancient portals that connect Crescent City to other realms. They offer a chance, but they're so dangerous. There's no guarantee that Bryce will be able to come back. And who knows what's waiting for her on the other side.
But Bryce's love for Hunt, it knows no bounds. She's willing to risk everything to save him, even if it means facing the unknown. And what she finds beyond the gates, it's both heartbreaking and empowering.
Her encounter with Danica's spirit, that's a turning point. It's a bittersweet reunion, filled with grief and longing, but also closure.
Danica reveals that she's been watching over Bryce this whole time, guiding her from the afterlife. And she gives Bryce the strength to make a choice, to stay in this spirit realm or return to the living world and fight for Hunt.
It shows how strong their friendship was, a bond that goes beyond death. Danica's words stay with Bryce, reminding her of everything she has to fight for.
And Bryce chooses to go back, armed with new knowledge and a fierce determination to save the man she loves. She uses her starborn light, that powerful force inside her, to heal Hunt and close the demon portals. She saves Crescent City from Micah's destruction.
Bryce's actions are heroic. She embraces her destiny, steps into her power, and becomes the savior Crescent City needs.
But her journey through the gates, it changes her. She comes back with a deeper understanding of her own strength and her place in the world. She's not that carefree party girl anymore.
She's gone through so much lost sacrifice, and she comes out stronger, reborn as this powerful starborn fae, a protector of her city, a symbol of hope in a world that's on the brink of chaos.
And after the battle, as things start to settle down, the city begins to heal. Bryce and Hunt finally admit their feelings for each other. Their bond, tested by so much, it's stronger than ever.
It's such a beautiful moment. It shows you that love can overcome anything, even the darkest times. But even though Micah's gone and Hunt is finally free, Crescent City still has a long road ahead.
The city's still recovering from the attack, and things are changing fast. Hypaxia is taking her place as Queen of the Witches. The Autumn King is facing the consequences of his actions. And the Astri, they're watching from the shadows. Their motive's still a mystery.
It makes you wonder what's going to happen next, right? Micah's gone, so who's going to fill that power vacuum? Bryce, now that she knows who she really is, she's going to be right in the middle of it all.
There are so many questions still unanswered. What's going to happen to the synth trade? Will the Astri get involved directly in Crescent City? What new challenges are waiting for Bryce and Hunt as they navigate this crazy world? We'll get into all of that and more in the final part of our deep dive. Stay tuned. You know, it's amazing how going through the gates, that whole near-death experience, it seemed to unlock something in Bryce, that first light. It was like nothing we've ever seen.
It's kind of poetic when you think about it. Facing oblivion, seeing her dead friend. It broke down all those walls that were holding her back. She literally brought Hunt back from the dead using that first light, and then sealed those demon portals, saved the city from total destruction.
Just like she tapped into this ancient, powerful magic. And yet, we still know so little about the Starborn and how they're connected to Luna's horn.
That's what keeps you coming back to this world, right? All those mysteries and prophecies, just waiting to be uncovered. Speaking of mysteries, the Astri, that scene where they reveal they've been watching Bryce all along, knew about her Starborn powers, was chilling.
I know. It makes us think, what are they up to? Are they these benevolent guardians watching over everything? Or are they manipulating events from the shadows to achieve some secret goal?
It's hard to say. They're so secretive, always lurking in the background. It's like they see Bryce as this wild card, someone who could be useful to them, or a huge threat, depending on what she decides to do.
It definitely adds to the suspense. You never know when they might step in and take matters into their own hands, what their end game is.
And Hunt, after everything he went through, years of slavery and torture, to finally be close to freedom and then be sent back to Sandriel, it was just devastating.
Oh, I felt so bad for him. He finally found a place where he belonged. That connection with Bryce, it gave him hope. And then it was all ripped away.
But even when things are at their worst, Hunt never lost hope. He believed that Bryce would find a way to save him, that their bond was that strong.
And he was right. Bryce's determination, her love for him, it brought him back. That reunion when she pulls him back from death.
Wow.
Let's just say it was emotional.
It's proof that love and connection can conquer anything. They're a light in this dark world.
But even though Micah is gone and Hunt is free, Crescent City is still in a fragile state. Everything's changing. Hypaxia is the new queen of the witches. The Autumn King is dealing with his own mess. And the Astri, they're still out there watching.
Micah's actions, they're going to have ripple effects. Who's going to rise up and take his place? It's a whole new power struggle.
And then you have the synth trade. It's still a huge problem. Even with Micah out of the picture, his whole network is still operating.
It makes you think, is the system itself corrupt? Or is it the people in power who abuse it? It's a theme that runs through this whole story. Power, temptation, the choices we make when we have so much to gain.
And Bryce, now she knows. She's stubborn. She's at the center of all this. She has to learn to control these new powers, navigate the world of Fae politics, and protect those she cares about.
It's like a whole new chapter for her. She's not just surviving anymore. She's a leader. She has power, responsibility.
But we still have so many questions. What about the Astery? Will they get involved? What will happen to the synth trade? What other dangers are lurking out there?
There are so many possibilities. Sarah J. Maas has created this incredible world, and she knows how to keep us on the edge of our seats with complex characters, intricate plots, and thought-provoking themes.
So what have we learned? I think it's clear we've only just scratched the surface of this world. There's so much more to discover, so many mysteries left to unravel.
And for you listening, I think Bryce's story has a message. Sometimes the most powerful changes come from facing our fears and embracing the unknown. It's when we push ourselves, when we're vulnerable, that we discover our true strength. Who knows what you're capable of? What hidden potential lies within you? That's something to think about. As we wrap up our deep dive into Crescent City.
Thanks for listening.